Have you ever thought about how your personality, who you are deep down, might be affecting your physical health? Well, today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating and surprising connection, the hidden link between your personality and your blood pressure.
I mean, it's a pretty bold question, right? We're all used to hearing about salt, diet, and exercise when we talk about hypertension. But what if your temperament, the way you react to the world, is just as big a player? Let's find out.
So first things first, let's just establish this core idea. The whole point here is that high blood pressure isn't always just about what you eat or how much you weigh. It can be deeply, deeply tied to how you think, feel, and behave every single day.
And this isn't some new age fad. The idea that our personality could literally affect our hearts goes way back. We're talking the 1950s when two cardiologists, Meyer Friedman and Ray Rosenman, started noticing something really specific about their patients who had heart disease. They saw a pattern.
And what they observed led them to define a concept you've probably heard of before, the type A behavior pattern. So let's really unpack what that actually is. Now, the most important thing to get about type A is that it's not just about being ambitious or a go-getter. It's really all about how you react to stress. It's that tendency to have a constant, tense, almost combative response to challenges instead of a more relaxed, easygoing one. So what does that look like in real life? Well, it's that person who's always in a hurry, always feeling impatient. It's being quick to anger or getting hostile over small things. It's being intensely competitive in everything and having this relentless drive, all because of this nagging feeling that you're constantly running out of time. Sound like anyone you know? Okay, so that's the psychological side of it, but here's the million-dollar question. How does a feeling, an attitude, actually translate into a physical problem like high blood pressure?
I mean, it's a huge leap, isn't it? From being impatient in a long line to actually changing the physical pressure inside your arteries? Well, the bridge connecting those two things is our body's ancient, hardwired stress response. And this is not just a theory. We have the data to back it up. There was this huge study that followed thousands of young adults for 15 years. And the results were crystal clear. Of all the different personality traits, only two, hostility and impatience, were major predictors for developing hypertension down the road. The more hostile and impatient the person, the higher their risk. It's a direct link.
And this is where you can literally see it happening inside the body. In one study, they put both type A and more relaxed type B people under a stressful challenge. And look at that difference. The type A folks had a way bigger surge of the fight-or-flight hormone norepinephrine. Their bodies were just physically reacting on a whole other level to the exact same situation.
So here's the real kicker. This isn't just a one-time thing. For someone with that type A pattern, these huge hormonal surges happen over and over, day in and day out. And that constant state of high alert, that chronic overactivation, starts to wear down your cardiovascular system. Over time, it can lead to permanent changes in your arteries, causing that persistently high blood pressure. So this leads to the ultimate question, right? Is this just how some people are, or is it something they learn? Is it nature or is it nurture? Well, let's take a look at the genetic evidence.
Twin studies are incredible for figuring this stuff out, and what they found is pretty amazing. For most of these core type A traits, that impatience, the anger, the competitiveness, a huge chunk of it comes down to genetics. We're talking about 35 to over 50% of the tendency being heritable.
And we can even get more specific. Scientists have pinpointed particular genes that play a role. For example, some people have a version of the COMT gene that's slower at cleaning up stress hormones like norepinephrine, meaning their stress response lasts longer. Others might have a version of the MAOA gene that's been linked to more aggression when provoked, a key part of that hostility trait. So what this all boils down to is that for a lot of people, this isn't just a bad attitude or a choice. Their biological predisposition for having a stronger, more intense reaction to stress might literally be written into their DNA. Okay, so after hearing about the personality link, the hormones, and the genes, it might start to feel a little bit, well, like you're stuck, right? But here's the most important part. You are absolutely not. Now let's talk about what you can actually do. The really good news is that knowing all this is incredibly empowering. Understanding why your body might be reacting this way gives you a specific roadmap for taking back control of your health, no matter what your personality or your genes are.
So, where do you start? Well, one of the most effective, no medication strategies is weight loss. And it doesn't have to be some massive transformation. The research is very clear. For most people who are overweight, losing as little as 10 pounds can make a really significant difference in lowering blood pressure.
All right, let's talk food. When it comes to diet, there is one plan that is basically the undisputed champion for hypertension. It's called the DASH plan. It's all about loading up on fruits and veggies and low-fat dairy, and it is just incredibly effective at bringing those numbers down for pretty much everybody.
And of course, you gotta move. The magic number here is 150 minutes per week of moderate aerobic activity. Think of good brisk walk, something that gets your heart rate up. It's fantastic for both preventing and managing hypertension. But here's a quick heads up from the research. Really heavy, static exercises like intense weightlifting can cause temporary spikes in blood pressure, so they're not always recommended.
And finally, let's go right back to the source of the problem we talked about, that overactive stress response. This is where you can fight fire with fire. Things like meditation or even just simple deep breathing exercises directly calm that physiological arousal. Just practicing for 15 to 20 minutes a day can actually blunt those hormone spikes and lead to real measurable drops in your blood pressure.
So there you have it, this incredible hidden line connecting your personality, your hormones, and even your DNA, all the way to the health of your heart. But the most powerful part is knowing you have the tools to manage it. So the only question left is, knowing what you know now, what's the one small change you're going to make starting today?